Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museum will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to the Sunday after dinner version of the Misfit Nation Show. Just came off the road from Athens, Georgia. Everyone who hung out with us there, thank you. And thank you, University of Georgia, for letting us hang out and film and just have a great time there for basically 48 hours of a fun fest, I guess you'd call it. And Georgia did beat them balls. I know a lot of people have a lot of things going on today, probably watching football. My Giants aren't playing, so they can't lose today, so that's a good thing. So, I mean, they probably still lost to something today, but not to a football team. But everything else is going well. I have nothing to update on our fallen first responders today. So now we're over a week since the last time we had to do this. So this is outstanding. Keep this up. Let's keep being kind to our neighbors and in the community and try to do things the right way. Look people in the eyes and ask them how they're doing, and maybe things will turn out a lot better. So tonight we have a great guest. She is known for her expertise in mindfulness and her infectious love for laughter. She's an integrative corporate health coach. She's here to help you tackle stress with confidence. She comes equipped with a wealth of wellness certifications enough to fill a bookshelf. She's a national board certified health coach, author, global presenter, certified integrated somatic practitioner, certified meditation leader, mindfulness for kids instructor, positive psychology coach, certified laughter yoga leader, and certified in Zumba, stretch, and yoga. So without further ado, let's welcome Staci Berkovitz to the MisFit Nation. Welcome, Staci.
Thanks so much. Wow, you made me sound so cool. I appreciate that.
All I do is read what you give me. Some big words there I wasn't prepared for. You had to slow down a little bit.
You nailed it. You nailed it. You got it.
I did the hooked on phonics thing, just sound them out a little bit. I think we made it. So, Staci, it's great to have you here tonight. Thanks for agreeing to come on the Sunday night. We met on Facebook on the podcast page there. So it's outstanding when I get people to sign up there and actually show up and come on. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Staci, I gave, like I said, a little 2-sentence thing about you with big words in there. Let's you tell the MisFit Nation more about you from as far back as you want to go to how we got here.
Okay, perfect. Well, first I have to give a shout out to all the veterans since we are capping off the end of Veterans Week, including my daughter-in-law. So shout out to Megan. Okay, so you want to know as far back as I want to go. Yep. It was a sunny day in Yuma, Arizona. So I would say, let's just talk more about what got me here. What were some of the mountains and what were some of the valleys, right? So I was raised in Arizona, moved out at the time I was married. We moved out to Texas. Go Cowboys. I know. I'm sorry. I have to say it because they're terrible. And I'm not even that real of a fan, but I just feel like you were talking all this football and it's like what we're supposed to do, right? So I had to go Cowboys you. So moved out here in 2003. And in 2004, we adopted 3 children from Russia and they were older kids. And so at the time, the oldest was 10 and then the twins were 5. And a few years later, we adopted one more child. And he was 8.5 at the time. So my kids now are all old, not as old as me, but old. So my oldest is 30 and I have twin daughters that are 26 and a son that is 24 and one granddaughter. Wow. And so adopting children from Russian orphanages was hard. And I'm not talking about just the process. I mean, I'm talking about dealing with trauma from people who have been affected from trauma. So I came from this like, oh, we just all need to love each other. And I loved Annie growing up. You want to quiz me on a song? Sun will come out tomorrow, maybe far away. But I didn't understand trauma. And I didn't even understand my own because we all have it. It just comes in different packages. And so I think that was a huge wake-up call for me that although love is important, it goes deeper. It goes deeper how we need to understand each other and our own trauma and the trauma of others. And so anyway, I was a school teacher, career-wise. I was a corporate trainer for a while. And then I got into health and fitness. I've been teaching Zumba for about 13 years, coaching for about 6 or 7 years now, coaching as in health and wellness coaching. And I see these patterns that like come up, right? There's just these threads you kind of see, you know, how you're like, you have like puzzle pieces and then you see as you start putting a puzzle together, you're like, oh, that's the picture. And I think from my own life experiences and understanding what I've learned in my own education and then also coaching others, I think I'm learning more and more the secrets, quote, secret to a joyful life. And so this year I turned the big 50.
Welcome.
Yeah. And so I turned 50 in May. And last year, let me tell you, I don't know how young your audience is. So if you're not close to 50, if you're like 25 and you're like, oh my gosh, she's as old as my mom, it's cool. Like I'm okay with that. But if you're in my age range, this may be relatable to you. When I was 49 last year, last year, like April, no, but last year, 2023, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to my life when I turn 50? So I'm single. I've been divorced for about 11 years. And I thought about dating apps and how horrific they can be as they are. But then when you turn 50, you're like, it's like a whole new level of horrific. And I was just kind of dreading, like, I have such a fulfilling life. I have so many good friendships. I'm very happy. I've traveled the world. But like that number, I thought, like, wasn't Blanche on the Golden Girls 50? Like, is that where I am in life right now? So I really had to have, like, it took a couple months of like really sitting with this. And I had this little come to Jesus moment in January. I was like, I have to make this year count. Like, this has to be an intentional, amazing year for me. And so I decided to try 50 new experiences that I've never done before. And then I decided to write about it. So I have a podcast. So I was sharing it on my podcast. And then I was like, why am I not writing this? Because I know I'm not the only 50-year-old or almost 50-year-old that's like, oh my gosh, I'm almost 50. So how can I help people also get inspired and shift to really make this decade in life, or if you're turning 60 or 70 or 40 or whatever it is, how to make it the most meaningful. Right. So my book just came out. In a very interesting way we can talk about in a second, but my book is called Naked at 50. So I'll just hand the ball back to you, Rich.
All right. Awesome. Let's go back to when you adopted the children. What made you choose adoption overall and then Russia on top of that?
Yeah. You're like, what made you choose the hardest path? So I was reading a book called Kite Runner, and I don't know if that's a familiar book, but there is a section in there where it talks about an orphanage in Afghanistan. And it's just like this horrific, heart-wrenching chapter. And I was so taken by it. Like, it absolutely broke my heart. And so I like went online in 2003. You know, we did have online in 2003. So I went online in 2003 and I was like, orphans, because it was just never something I thought about, to be honest with you. And then back in the day, they were like putting pictures of orphans on the internet, which is horrific now. Okay, I get it. It's horrific now. But in 2003, we were like, oh, cute kids, must take in. Can I have them all? You know? And so that kind of started. So I was married and I called my ex-husband and I was like, I know we were like thinking about starting our family. Now, I think we had been married like 5 or 6 years at that point. But I was like, what about adoption? He was like, what? But he got on board and the process started from there. So that's where it all came from. Yeah. A book.
The Kite Runner. And I remember when that book came out, I was in between tours at that time. I was actually in Iraq in 2003. So, and that book came out and I know my wife read it and a lot of people read it and they fell in love with the book. And a lot of things in the book were based off facts. And then I know some stuff came out later that was called the untruths and stuff inside the book. But it affected more than just you. A lot of people went that same route after that to try to save the children, basically. And without singing songs with a bunch of celebrities, you went out there to try to actually do things on your own. And you wound up with almost a whole team with you. You have 4 of them. So
yeah,
now a grand too. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been quite a journey.
And I'm sure there was challenges with them when you first got them here. Language barrier being one of them, probably. How did you guys adjust as a family and make it just work?
Oh, that's such a sweet way to say it. Just make it work. Right. Because do you have another choice? Like, really, do you have another choice? And you can follow apart.
You can't mail them back.
You can't mail them back. I wouldn't have wanted to mail them back, but you have to just, I mean, like, it was hard. Our oldest, who was 10, went through so much there and came, like, the first year had meltdowns every single day.
Oh, wow.
And, but he also had this amazing heart. So he was like really hard behaviorally, but really loving kid. It was like this, it was tough. And then my daughters, who were 5.5, They were pretty good. I mean, they were young enough where they were pretty good. And then when we adopted the last one, when he was 8.5, he had gone through hell in Russia as well. My boys both went through a lot. And sometimes that doesn't come out. I mean, it does, but sometimes it doesn't come out in its full trauma glory until puberty.
Wow.
And so, I've learned a lot sitting on my little pedestal before I had kids. And I was like, who wants parenting advice? I'm delving it out for free. I know all. And then I had kids, and I had kids that have challenges. And I was like, oh, I get it. Thank you for the giant swig of humility and understanding that there is not one size fits all, that we all kind of learn as we go. And, we were new parents. We are new parents to grow, older children. And so, it's just a little bit of grace that we got through it, and we got through it, and they're all alive. So I think I graduated. And I like them all, even though sometimes they don't like me. I still like them all very much. So.
And you get that even with when you have your own kids, when you birth your kids, you're going to have those days when they hate you, mostly during those teen years. And we did it to our parents too, that. And you tested the boundaries as much as you could. And you don't realize that until like now that we're in our 50s, we can look back and say, yeah, I was probably not a good kid at that point. And I could have been much better to my parents. But thankfully, they kept pushing me to be better and get to where I am today.
I feel like I don't remember which one of my kids I told this to, maybe all of them at different moments as adults, but I said, like, most of parenting is just showing up. And because we're all imperfect, we're all going to show up, we're all going to be imperfect and make imperfect decisions as parents. But I really feel like half the battle is just showing up, is just being there, is just committing to be there. So there is something tribal, instinctively, of just showing up for your tribe, your kids, that goes a long way.
Definitely. And once you got through that portion of that chapter of your life, adopting the children, raising them into the great people they are today, you started other things. I know in your bio it says you were a certified couch potato for a little while, and then you flipped the switch and you got all these certifications. You got almost a paragraph of certifications. What led to that?
Yeah, so I was a runner and a cheerleader. So grew up very active. Even in college, I was a cheerleader. And then somewhere in my 20s, I discovered potato chips. No, somewhere in my 20s, I became a school teacher. And if there's any school teachers listening, listen, you have like 7 minutes to eat between when you drop your kids off and pick them up from lunch, or you're just always going. And I was always going. And I just started gaining weight like over the years. And then I adopted the kids and I gained a lot more weight. So I probably put on like 30 pounds. And I'm kind of like, you can't really tell with this fake background, but I'm like a little bone girl. And I'm a little curvy, but I'm a little bone girl. And so 30 pounds on me looks like 60. Like, it was just a lot. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do something about this. So I went to a gym, and it was an all-female gym. And they do this like bio, they check your BMI and they check your weight and you measure your waist. And you're like, oh, cool. How terrible am I going to feel about myself after this? And so the person her name was Leanne, the person who measured me, and she just kind of went, And I was like, And I'm like, am I obese? And she's like, you're not obese, but you're overweight. It's like this like slow motion. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm officially overweight. And it's like, I was in my 30s at the time, and it like snapped. I was like, oh, heck no, I'm not going down that road. So it took me. Because you know how guys are like, I coughed and I lost 40 pounds. Well, and then women are like, I've been on the treadmill for 14 days nonstop and haven't eaten, and I've gained 9 pounds. I feel like that's how it works. Well, it took me a year and a half to get back down to a normal weight. And it took like my ex-husband, and that's not why it ended, but it took my ex-husband like a month or two, to hit his weight back. But it didn't matter, because I was developing habits that have stuck with me and totally changed my trajectory, or got me back on a healthy trajectory that I had gotten off of. And I can't imagine going back. Like I can't imagine not moving my body. I can't imagine being so overweight that you can't enjoy life or that you are out of breath or whatever. I can't imagine doing that again. So from there, it was just like, all right, this is me now. This is who I am. Wellness is who I am. And it really has become. So the certifications are great. It expanded my knowledge. It helped me be a better coach, but it's my own experience and walking through this that helped me personally.
And your journey to fitness it wasn't like just 1 year, 2 years, almost 15 years, I think your bio stated. And that's a long time to stick with something for one. And like you said just a few minutes ago, you grew those habits, and it takes a lot of work to grow a habit and stay with it. Usually 21 days of doing something will help you solidify that habit and make it something that's normal for you every day. What changes did you see as you made those habits become just daily effects for you?
Yeah. So the very first thing I decided to do was try to run a 5K. And so I got on the treadmill and I just like walked a half mile, and then slowly I ran a little bit of that half mile, and then I ran the whole half mile, et cetera, until I could get to that. And it took a couple months, 2 or 3 months to get there. And then I had like enrolled to do a 5K. And I remember doing that 5K, and it was like Chariots of Fire reference for old people, where you're like running and you're like, yeah, like I remember, like I had just won the Olympics, and I went through, I was like, I did this. And I don't know, once you taste success, once you taste something that you're like, this feels good and I did it, you want more of that fruit. Right. And so that started it. And so now some of the habits are, I move 5, sometimes 6 days. We all move 5 or 6 days a week. I exercise 5 or 6 days a week. I make green juice that I drink every morning. I've just become a lot more knowledgeable of how food is such it determines how we feel. So if we want to feel crappy, go eat crap. If you want to feel good, eat good. Like it's like almost like, oh, duh. But it takes us so long because we have these, we have potato chips and queso and all the good things that taste so good. But I know if I just focus on processed foods, I feel crappy. So it's like, okay, I can eat that sometimes, but that's not going to be my diet. That's not going to be what I eat. I'm going to put things in my body so I don't feel bad.
Definitely. And once you start, like we talked in the pre-show about what happened to me to make me change my diet. And once you start eating different things, you feel changes right away. Oh, not really right away. Over days, you start feeling the changes, seeing things differently. And when people ask, what do you eat? Chicken, just chicken. I'm just a chicken guy. That's what I eat. And if there's something every restaurant sells some kind of chicken. So I can go to almost every restaurant with you, orders that vegetable thing that we can eat too. So I can do the vegetarian side as well, which most of that it's good stuff too. More of the Mediterranean style diet is probably where I should be in doing that. Have you found one that just clicks with you, or just eating good foods?
I love that you asked that, because I get asked this all the time. Like, what should I eat? And I'm like, your body will always give you feedback. Always. Like, you will know whatever you put in your body, if you feel like you need to take a nap right afterwards, or if you feel like you have energy, like healthy energy, not sugar type of energy, your body will always give you feedback. And so like, I love pineapple, but I am allergic to pineapple. And so if I eat pineapple, I get a scratchy throat and my tongue gets a little swollen. And so it's great food. It's full of nutrients, but my body gives me the feedback like pineapple's bad for me. Sugar gives me an instant headache. Like I just know like, okay, that tastes good, but I know a headache's going to follow. And so I always say lean in for anyone, lean into what your body, we just eat so fast, like I did as a school teacher, and we're so distracted by looking at laptops or phones while we're eating. So we really don't pay attention to how food is making us feel. But it's like, oh, I feel bad after I ate that double cheeseburger and French fries. Like, I feel terrible. Okay, that's some information your body is providing for you. So yes, the Mediterranean diet is great. Making most of your meals vegetable heavy, making sure you get enough fiber. That is so important. The American diet is very low in fiber, so making sure to get enough fiber in it. I think we over protein and under fiber sometimes. So those are like general rules. But again, it comes down to listen to your body and the feedback it's giving you.
We have a question in the chat now from Jen92 on X. How do I find my path to fitness like you? I think you just kind of answered it now, but if you want to expand on that, you could.
Yeah. It's so funny. I just presented on this last week. It's really finding what you like, because let me back up. It's finding your why. Why do you want to get into fitness? Because if there's no why, you won't stick with it. So is your why you want to chase your grandkids? Is your why, or kids, because I'm old and I have grandkids. But if you want that energy, or you just don't want to feel bad all the time, like you're done feeling bad. So find your why and make sure like you can feel it in your gut. That is what your why is. Really understand your why. And then from there, what do you enjoy doing? What did you enjoy doing in the past? Right. Is there anything that you enjoyed movement wise that you would like to do again? What are you interested in trying? Is pickleball something that like sounds interesting to you or not? Is yoga something? Maybe, balance and flexibility are the first two things to go as we age. Maybe hit a beginner's yoga class. Does it just mean you want maybe walking more? So just finding, kind of exploring different fitness, and there's quizzes online and you can connect with me. I'm happy to throw some stuff your way to help you find what your interest levels are. But really it's just knowing your why, looking at what you would actually do, and then taking baby steps to get there. So that's okay. I'm not moving right now, but this week I'm going to buy a pair of tennis shoes to walk in. Maybe that's your first goal. By the end of this week, I'm going to have a brand new pair of shoes to walk in. Maybe next week, I'm going to walk from my house to the mailbox 3 times. So it's making bite-sized goals. If goals entice you and help you get going, and then finally make it fun. Because if you hate it and dread it, you'll stop it.
If you make it a job, you're not going to want to do it.
Yeah, no one wants to do a job. Yeah.
No, you want to do something that you love to wake up to do every day. And like you said, if you find your why, if it is like your goal was to do the 5K, maybe that's their goal, do the couch to 5K thing and get to that 5K point. But then when you get there, like you did, you found that euphoria there, the victory. What do I do now? Do I run multiple more 5Ks, or do I ramp it up, go 10K half marathon and try to kill myself in a marathon?
I don't recommend the death path to fitness. I recommend, because you want those endorphins you get from moving. You don't want to die. We want endorphins, not death. So
endorphins, not death, everyone. Remember that.
Yes, it will be on your next t-shirt. Endorphins, not death.
Thank you. I'll write that down. Yes. So we talked about your book just a little bit in the green room. We talked about it because the title, of course, throws people off. It's Naked at 50. And guys, girls in the audience, please understand it's not just a naked picture book. It's an actual book. So, Staci, tell us more about the book.
Yes. So you are welcome. It is not a picture book. So Naked at 50 is in 3 parts. So part 1 is looking back, really taking kind of an inventory of your first 50 years, or if you're younger, 40 or whatever, however old you are. It's your looking back. Part 2 of the book is your looking forward. How do you want to enter this decade? Do you want to show up when some of the ways you have and then let go of some of the others? What's that going to look like in all aspects? What's the legacy you want to leave? And then the last part is the 50 new experiences that I tried this year. So 50 new experiences. And so I do have an Instagram, Naked at 50, where you can see some of the clothed pictures of my journey. But the Kindle, so it's getting released December 10th, but you can pre-order Kindle ebook this week. Also later this week, probably midweek, Naked at 50 will be available to pre-order on Amazon.
Outstanding. And Amazon, the store for everything. You can get the book and probably buy something for Christmas that you don't really need, but you want to buy because it's shiny and it's on the first page of Amazon today. I did put the link in the chat so you can go right to the book. It's a tiny URL. So it's the Amazon link, of course, is huge. So I put the regular link, that link there, just click it. It'll take you right to the book. You can do the pre-order, or you can get the Kindle version as well and enjoy the book. I'll put the other links for the Instagram in there as well. Where do you see yourself doing next, Staci? Since that goal is done now, you did the 50 Naked at 50 book. Now you have to do something to get that high again from doing something like that. What's that going to be?
Yeah. Great question. Well, two things. First, I think once you're open to new experiences, they find you, right? All of a sudden, like what you look at for flows to you. And I feel like things have just flowed to me even for the book. And so this weekend I'm going to a ball. Rich, I am going to a ball, a real ball, like a Cinderella type ball. Yeah, I know. We have this ball in Texas. It's called the Margarita Ball, and it's like invite only. You can't even buy tickets. And so one of my Zumba students was like, "Hey, my friend canceled. Do you want to go with me?" And I was like, "Sure." So I'm going with a friend. So I'm going to a ball with a friend this weekend. But next year I would like to do my first TEDx talk. That's next.
Nice. And if I'm guessing wellness or fitness will be part of that talk as well, or just your journey?
I think it'll be based on not just getting older, but aging well, what that looks like.
Aging like a fine wine. Yes.
Like a fine non-alcoholic wine.
Non-alcoholic, like a cranberry juice. Yeah. Or grape juice. What's the best way for the audience to get in contact with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you can jump on my website, ontheexhale.com, and there's a contact form there. So for whoever asked that question, if there's anything else I can do to support you, you can message me there. That's best. Or you can DM me. You can slide into my DMs. Even when you're 50, you can say that. You can slide into my DMs. On Instagram, I have 2 accounts, Naked, that are my business ones, and that's Naked at 50, and then Living on the Exhale, which is also the name of my podcast.
And all of those links are in the chat right now. I think there are 2 of them are on the show notes as well, so they'll always be there. Staci, if you can give the audience 3 things they can start doing tomorrow that can help them in their journey to any success in life, what would that be?
Yeah. Number 1, back to that word awareness. Start creating some awareness, and that means slowing down a little bit. Just why am I doing what I'm doing? So number 1, awareness. Number 2, finding your why. Why do you want to make any changes in your life? Really connecting with that. And 3, do something that's fun and a little out of your comfort zone.
Stretch those legs, stretch them arms, go to a ball.
Go to a ball. Yes.
Go to a ball. In military, we have a ball almost every year with your unit. So it depends on what.
You're not impressed, Rich. Just say it. I'm not impressed with your ball, Staci.
Yours is probably much better, is what I was going to say. Ours was regimented. So you had to do certain things at certain times, and it had to happen in that order. So it was like you're still marching, just you're all dressed up for the common stuff.
That's pretty cool that y'all did a ball, though. That's pretty neat.
Every year, and the Marines just did. I think every Marine unit just did their ball for their birthday last week as well.
What is it called? What do you call the balls that are in the Marines?
It's the Marine Corps ball. It's for the birthday
okay.
ball. There's the birthday ball.
We went straight there.
Yeah.
What did you call it? The birthday ball?
Birthday ball. So every year they have the birthday ball, and every unit throws one. So it's cool. A party. Wherever there's a Marine base, there's a party.
That is really, really cool. All right. Well, I'm sorry. That's what I got for you. I'm going to a ball this weekend. I know it's old hat for you, but there you go.
You got it. You can do great. And then you'll probably get addicted and want to do more. And next thing you know, you'll be doing 3 or 4 balls a year and getting new dresses and having fun.
Comes an addiction. Now I'm going to need help. Yep. Yeah. All the things.
That goes into that shopping addiction, I guess, would be where that falls. But Staci, this has been awesome chatting with you for the last 30-something minutes. It went by fast, of course. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you ever want to come back on, or if you want to test my Tuesday crew and see if they can get better questions to you, just let me know. We'll get you back on here and tell more of your story. Thank you so much for having me. And again, huge thank you to our veterans. So appreciate all of you. We appreciate you. Have a great night. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation Show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.